On this week's episode, is it time to go get some more spice from Dune? Call of Duty's Cold War has a really cool multiplayer. And what's up with The Walking Dead? Well, you know what? Actually, I got a better one. The Walking Dead looks like it's the end. It looks like the end for The Walking Dead. Or is it? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. It'll sound so much better in post, I tell you. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And also, if you can go ahead and send us out some Facebook gaming stars, or if you can like, subscribe, share, whatever you can do to follow us here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, it is truly appreciated. Just want to give everybody a heads up. We've been doing coverage of the NBA playoffs each and every day at the Lakers Fast Break. So if you're interested in the NBA playoffs, check that out on the Lakers Fast Break. And football is back. The NFL starts tonight as we're taping this. So if you want to check out very last minute tips from our own Chris Sardieri at Inside Sports Fantasy Football lives again on your favorite podcast outlet. But unfortunately, Josh is gone on hiatus for at least the week. He's going to come back for the Monday show. But filling in is an awesome man indeed. You got to check out what he's doing today under Marcus de la Garza Enterprises, as I call it, because he's got everything going on, including all the graphic design, all the drone stuff that he does, and so much more. It is the man himself, and I truly appreciate him taking the time to speak to me today on some pop culture. It is Marcus de la Garza. And Marcus, thanks for coming back on, man. Oh. Kevin Harvick. Oh,
man. Are we going to dig back into the NASCAR? We should maybe leave that at last week. And I think we've got some things to talk about today. But I will say there's some really big news in NASCAR today. We got Bubba Wallace leaving the Richard Petty Motorsports shop. So we'll see where he lands. And there's some silly season happening. And I guess we'll have to get together and talk about it right before championship weekend.
Absolutely. With Bubba Wallace, I think it's just a chance to go to a there you go, BW there for you. This is a chance for him to go to a more competitive race team. As much as I have a fondness for RPM, they're a one-car team. And as you know, it's all about the more cars, the more sponsors, the more money you can put in there, the better chance you'll have of winning races. But it is going to be a great episode we've got for you today. In fact, later on in the episode, TJ Johnson from Voice from the Underground, if you're listening to us on radio stations and audio podcast outlets worldwide, he's going to be stopping by to talk at length about his thoughts on Chadwick Boseman and also where he thinks the Black Panther saga should go next as far as what characters. And I'm going to ask Marcus coming up in the episode as well before we head on out on that question. So I want to go ahead and let everybody know that TJ Johnson is coming up later in the program to talk Black Panther 2. Also, we're going to be talking about a lot of good things, including Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War multiplayer. The trailer came out. Oh my gosh. Activision is trying to draw me back in. Are they drawing you back in too? I'll ask Marcus. I'll ask you here in a sec on that. So hold on. You've got a lot of stuff to say. I know that on the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So we'll talk about that in a sec. Walking Dead, or I should say The Walking Dead, is closing up shop finally for a lot of people after 11 seasons with a supersized season coming up, after season 11. But I want to ask you, since they also announced a spin-off here in a sec, Marcus. Yes, there's actually 2 spin-offs. Well, they got a whole bunch of spin-offs that they're also dealing with as well. They've got a lot of plans. Whether or not most of those materialize, we'll have to wait and see. And I'm also going to be talking to our resident Walking Dead superstar, Daphne Matthew, here coming up on the Monday show. So I want to ask later on here, Marcus, real quick, is The Walking Dead really ending after 11 seasons? Because there's some stuff coming up as well with that series. Marvel's Avengers video game, that is going to be that's out right now. I know a lot of people have been playing it, but is it any good? We're going to share thoughts at the back end of the show on that. The Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X, the release date and price are announced. Is Marcus interested? We'll find out that. Oh, he is. Gave us a little sneak peek there, right there. We'll talk about that here coming up at the back end of the show. Daisy Ridley, let's let out some stuff when she was talking to Josh Gad on the Jimmy Kimmel show earlier this week about Star Wars. Would have been the right move to go the way that she was talking about. We'll talk about that here coming up in a few minutes. And of course, we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about right here on the latest PCC Multiverse. But first, a little trailer drop that I think a lot of people were very much looking forward to because it comes from, I guess, a director that is well beloved here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, Denis Villeneuve, who Josh and I have gushed over at length because of his work on Blade Runner 2049, among others. I know Josh has been on the fence with Arrival. I thought Arrival was okay, but Blade Runner 2049, as we've talked about ad nauseum on the show, is such a tremendous influence on us and such an awesome movie to see. Well, he's coming out with Dune, another remake. I think this is the third or fourth remake of Dune, if I'm not mistaken. I know there was something during the early 2000s as far as a TV miniseries. Of course, there was the early 1980s film that was first done. So I want to ask you this right now, my friend. The impressions I have with the all-star lineup involved, and it is just tremendous indeed. I mean, from Zendaya to Timothée Chalamet to Oscar Isaac to Josh Brolin to Jason Momoa to blah, 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 blah. I mean, the list seems to be going on and on for this. So the stars truly appreciate Denis Villeneuve's work previously, whether it's Blade Runner 2049 and on. But if you've seen the trailer, it is truly awesome to see. Whether or not people will understand what's going on, because it looks like it's going to be a larger thing with Dune, where it looks like it's going to be spread out maybe over multiple movies. We'll have to wait and see, but it certainly seems to be hinting towards that. I want to hear your thoughts on Dune. Visually, Denis Villeneuve really gets it done.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about when people are not reading the book anymore, and people may read the book as it gets closer to the start date, but they're not reading the book as much as they used to in the past. So a lot of people that will be watching it might be confused about what's going on.
Well, I don't want to scare you too much here, Gerald, but I've actually never read or seen any of the Dune movies.
That's what I mean. That's exactly. I mean, there's so many people like yourself that haven't seen it or been part of any of the source material. How did it appeal to you as a consumer?
Well, all right. So let me give you my first take on it. So when I first loaded up that trailer and was watching it, it felt like Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven, like the first minute of that trailer.
Oh, then Josh is liking that, Josh, somewhere, because that's his favorite movie. So
is it really? It's one of my favorite movies. Gladiator keeps coming up in my brain the last 6 months for some reason. I don't know why. Ridley Scott
must be a Ridley Scott fan right there for you.
I mean, I am, but it's really coming around. But yeah, I'll tell you that it was really appealing to me. They gave you enough to make you intrigued, but they didn't give you enough to make you feel like you knew the entire storyline, which is a problem I feel like with most trailers nowadays. Like you go into a Marvel movie and it feels like you've probably watched 75% of it, just because of the way that they break the trailers down and set everything up for you, which isn't a bad thing. It's just not my style to a certain extent. So I was really excited when I first watched this Dune trailer. And I'll tell you, I probably felt a little Ridley Scott-esque, Kingdom of Heaven-esque, because they mentioned a crusade coming, right? And so I don't know, just that first minute and a half, I kind of sat back. I was like, this is a 400-page book. Why have I not read this yet? This is simple. Let's go. And so it's actually on my list right now. So I think we still have a whole nother year until the Expanse final book comes out, which means Dune's going to be coming up on my Kindle literally probably tomorrow. And so I'll start reading that and get back to you guys on that, because it's going to be a really fun adventure here. You know, we've got some really cool movies coming out right now, set in sci-fi. You know, set in this futuristic kind of landscape, sci-fi landscape, and it's been fun for me as a sci-fi addict, but I know that for the rest of the world, we're trying to drag people in kicking and screaming to a certain extent at times.
Well, the thing is, my friend, I know a lot of people like you are not familiar with the Dune whole landscape, the Dune story, and things of that nature. So there is the possibility of trying to initiate everyone in on that because the general audience is not familiar with it. But visually, it really draws you in.
That trailer, Gerald, was fantastic visually. Yeah. And then when you start looking at all the names that are tagged onto this, did that make you kind of just drop your jaw for a second?
Well, I'd already I knew the cast already going into it because, you know, you read IMDb and all that, but it just shows me that people in Hollywood have such an affinity of working with a certain director, like Christopher Nolan. People would just drop, you know, everything to work with Christopher Nolan. And it sounds like, from what I'm seeing with Denis Villeneuve, that they're willing to go ahead, no matter the name, no matter how much they've done. Like Jason Momoa, he's not starring in this. He has a side role. Josh Brolin, he has a side role as Gurney. Oscar Isaac, he has these guys have all important roles, but it's not the top role. And Timothée Chalamet, who still a lot of people don't know of, even though he's done a lot of fine work. He has got the top role in this. He is the lead character for the most part. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just excited for it. And it seems like all these actors are excited to work with Denis Villeneuve. They've seen his work, like Blade Runner 2049 and all the other things that he's put out. And it just seems like a lot of people are very interested to work with him. Visually, already it looks stunning. The actual worm that helps generate the spice that is such a source of the, I guess, the conflict itself between the two houses, it's going to be something that you can see there is just visually striking, and the whole world and universe that it's going to be. The question is it going to stay on its December release date? There is already talk that Wonder Woman 84 and Dune are two of the prime candidates to be moved back. So I don't want to get your hopes up too high. It's just rumors at this point, but it could be very well the case if we're seeing things that, in fact, I give you a quote from one of the Sony people that's running Sony Pictures and all that. He was one of the Sony executives said that it's really, really hard right now to go ahead and think you're going to release a $200 million production budget movie in the climate that we're now in because of the lack of returns at the box office you might get. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. Is it something, I know you're already excited about seeing in December. Do you really expect it to come out in December when all is said and done?
Not at all. And I think we've lightly touched on this on previous episodes where I've been on with NASCAR, and we've talked about them returning to the racetrack, but I think it's a little bit too early to anticipate things like that. We've seen that. I think it's California, or maybe it's just LA County specifically is starting to cancel Halloween, right? So we're already projecting things like that to be canceled. I think it's a little optimistic right now to look forward to this December release, but at the same time, we never know. We could have some radical shift here in the next month that could allow us to do that, but I'm not going to hang my hat on it. I'm going to go ahead and say that this one might be delayed until February or March.
And that's the thing, because right now you see Tenet, which is garnered great reviews. It is a Christopher Nolan movie, an event movie. People just are waiting to see this movie. And the thing is, it's just getting over or right around the $200 million mark worldwide, which for a movie that costs $200 million, you do the math, where they always tell you in Hollywood, don't look at a movie making a profit until it hits 3.5 times or whatever its budget makes. So at this point in time, I would say it is advisable in the current climate for anything large budget, and that is Wonder Woman 84, and that is No Time to Die, and that is Dune, and that is Black Widow. All these movies I want to see now, I'm preparing myself to say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to see it to 2021.
Yeah, and I don't know if they call them this in the movie world, but to borrow some lingo from our video game realm, they're all AAA titles. Why would you try and put a AAA title out in a theater or put a AAA title out when you kind of need that theater audience to help you out here, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to the eventual release of Dune. But I'm with you here. It seems a little premature to be saying that we're going to be optimistically reopening theaters and in theaters to see Dune for the December release. But it's to kind of step back to Tenet there for a second. I've been waiting to go see it at an IMAX theater. I just can't get to one from where I'm at right now.
And that's the problem for a lot of people. We get to one that's open, get to one that you feel safe in, and it's the issue that Josh and I have talked about for quite some time. You saw what Disney said. Disney bit the bullet on Milan as a movie here in the United States going to the box office. They said, you know what, we're going to try and make as much money as we can overseas, but here in the States, we just give it up for whatever we can get off of Disney Plus at a $30 charge. It went up about 68% as far as their downloads and as far as the interest level, which was just under what it was for Hamilton, which was free as part of the Disney Plus service when that came out in July. So that's pretty good news if you're paying $30 a shot and you're getting almost the same type of reaction that you were for Hamilton. So we'll wait and see, my friend. There's no exact perfect scenario as far as how a movie can make money in this climate. But when you're talking about a huge, monumental budget type film like Dune, I'm going to say right now that if it does come out in December, the movie studio is prepared to lose some money.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, over the lifetime of that movie, it will end up making money. Just based on what we've seen on the trailers, it can't be that bad, right? Yeah. But it's sad to see. Some of the work that these people put into this movie is not going to be appreciated on the proper viewing. Solution here.
Because even after, let's say, a vaccine is done or people start going out and whatnot, there's still going to be people out there that are going to be hesitant to go out and go with the family to the movie theater after what's gone on for at least the next year, 2 years, 3 years, could be even 5, they may never even come back and wait until, we're just going to get to a lifestyle where we wait for everything video on demand. There are people that are out there that are going to be doing that for the foreseeable future. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly how the movie climate is for a movie like Dune. But Marcus is excited for it. I'm excited for it. We want to go ahead and check it out. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you can go ahead and look on our Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page. It's one of our links right there for you. We hope you enjoy it. And we want to hear your thoughts on Dune. So if you have any thoughts on Dune, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, I want to ask you this. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, they came out with a nice little trailer themselves, my friend. And I want to hear this. Okay. I've talked to Josh at length about Call of Duty, and him and I have been like weaned off of Call of Duty because it came out year after year, the same thing year after year after year after year after year, rinse, repeat. But how could I blame Activision? They make money every year after it. It's either the top selling game or in the top 3 every single year. And it usually is the top selling game, whatever year iteration it is. And then they come out and they go to the Cold War, which Josh and I were like, ooh, this is kind of interesting. So they came out with those cinematic trailers and they came out with Ronald Reagan in it and all that. And everybody's going, ooh, yeah, this is kind of interesting. It might draw me back in. And then they came out with a multiplayer, which not only are you going to worldwide locations, but you could be involved in ship-to-ship battles, dune buggy battles, battles on motorcycles. Of course, the obviously friendly gameplay that's involved.
Yep.
Man, this game is drawing me back in. How about you?
I'm all right. So I have not been on the Call of Duty train for the last 4 years now. And I did the same thing as you and Josh did. I got burned out. I was there for midnight releases year after year after year after year. And I finally realized I'm buying the same game over and over again. Mm-hmm. And I used to play Call of Duty competitively back at World at War, Modern Warfare, the first one. The original Black Ops, like I played competitively on a team called the Bomb Squad, and like we just loved playing. And I walked away from it all because it just wasn't fun anymore. However, I will say this trailer has me ready to jump right back into the multiplayer. I wish they'd just give it to us tomorrow because I'm ready to start, fragging people.
Well, they are coming out with a beta. So at some point in
Ooh.
time, so Call of Duty does to gain interest. I think that's really smart. Like Marvel's Avengers did. If Marvel's Avengers does do well sales wise, it's because, and we'll talk about it at the back end of the show, but if they do well sales wise, it was because of that extended beta everybody seems to enjoy from that gives you a chunk of the campaign. But with Call of Duty, if they really are behind one of their iterations, they do a multiplayer beta, and I believe a multiplayer beta is on the way. So you'll get a taste of it. Is it enough a taste? We'll have to wait and see. But I think this is going to get a lot of people interested. And it's funny because even though people are waning interest, like you and I have gone off the Call of Duty train, they're still at such a high popularity level. There's going to be people like us that get back in that make it even more popular for Activision.
I've already got 2 friends that haven't been playing for at least the last 3 years that have texted me to say, hey, man, thanks for sending me the trailer. I think I'm going to buy this year. Are we going to try and do this on the PS5? And it was like, I don't know. We need that information out first before I can tell you anything. So I'm looking forward to it, though, Gerald. It's going to be a good time. Yesterday with their trailer release, they gave us 5 maps. One of them was Armada, which is technically it's like North Atlantic, right? They gave us Crossroads, which is Uzbekistan. You're like trying to secure the route into Afghanistan. Miami, Moscow, and they gave us a satellite location in Angola. And so all 5 of them look insane. When you bring in the ship-to-ship aspect, and they have that one clip in the trailer where the guy's throwing the grenade as the ship's jumping up over the wake. That was the moment that I decided, yes, I'm buying this game.
There you go.
Right there, yeah.
So you hope to recreate that in the game. I mean, it just looks awesome.
I'm not going to.
I hear you, my friend. I'll probably get killed when I buy it. I'll probably get killed like 15 times over, and people just be like spawning right, just like picking me off when I spawn. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, it is interesting, and it is truly something that is drawing me back into the world of Call of Duty. It looks like it's drawing in Marcus and his friends too. Yep. And we'll be talking a little bit more about the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X later on in the program to talk, maybe hopefully blend into that. So I want to hear everyone's thoughts. Is the latest trailer for Cold War, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and they should just get rid of the Black Ops. They really should. Yeah. Call of Duty, I'm going to call it Call of Duty Cold War. Is Call of Duty Cold War, their multiplayer trailer, really drawing in? I know the Call of Duty Cold War campaign trailer drew you in. And I'm so glad that they're doing a campaign because, as you and I remember, they ditched it for a little while at Activision.
Yeah.
And that was very disappointing. But is Call of Duty Cold War multiplayer drawing you in? We want to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, once again, I'm on with Marcus de la Garza. You want to go ahead and check out everything that he's doing and his whole enterprise, whether it's drones, whether, with graphic design, whatever he's up to. He's going to sell himself later in the show to go ahead and get you up to date on what he's doing. But I truly appreciate him for stopping in for Josh today. Want to give a big shout out to Nancy Weems, one of our super fans out there. Give her a shout out. Hello. We just truly appreciate you watching and everybody listening out there as well. I also want to give a big shout out to everybody who likes our stuff on popculturecosmos.com. There's like 5, 6, 7 people out there that every single time that we post something there, every time a show gets posted there, that they love what we do at popculturecosmos.com. And we cannot thank you enough for doing so. Before we head on to the half break, before we head on to the break, my friend, and TJ Johnson, I want to go ahead and get your thoughts on The Walking Dead ending after 11 seasons. Kind of. To me, it's not like an ending, and I'm going to talk about this with Daphne Matthew when she stops by on the weekend, and that is this. Yes, it's supposedly ending at season 11 with a big supersized season, but they're doing a Daryl and Carol story in 2023, I think.
Is it really ending?
Is it really ending? Is it really ending? So I ask you, my friend, is it really ending?
I'm going to go ahead and put my money on no. I mean, it is, right? We've announced the ending plan, but I think this is just like long-term planning that we've announced to kind of appease the masses. But so what they've announced is October 14th, I believe, is the finale for this season, for season 10. Or October 4th, actually. I just pulled it up. October 4th. They're going to be doing 6 more episodes on top of that to add to the end of season 10 that will be released in 2021. And when that happens in the spring, they'll also start filming for season 11, at which point we're going to have 24 episodes that'll probably be split 12 and 12, fall 2021, spring 2022. Do you call that ending? Because I feel like that's just aggressive planning and announcing your aggressive planning to your audience. I don't know.
Okay, and I understand that they're doing kind of like a prequel, I think a Walking Dead New World or whatever the show is, with the spin-off with the kids that they're doing with the high school kids and all that.
Is that the one, the Tales from the Walking Dead, that they're doing, or that they announced, or are they doing that already?
That they're actually shown a trailer for already, and there's actually footage. They've already done filming, production, things of that nature, and it's going to also debut in the near future. But they've got that. Fear of the Walking Dead. I know that's a show that a lot of people are poo-pooing on left and right, but still manages to stay alive. That show, I'm sure, is probably not got long for the future, but when you have two of your main characters now in The Walking Dead that are going to be in a spin-off of The Walking Dead.
Isn't that just The Walking Dead light, Gerald?
Yeah, it's just The Walking Dead light. Like you said it best right there. It's just not, it just doesn't seem like you're doing something fresh, and it just seems like everything is offshooting. It's kind of disappointing. I know that Robert Kirkland, the creator, never actually decided to go for a cure. How he ended the comic series, like right there. I wish they had gone and looked for a cure for it, or wish they'd done something, or how it originated, or anything like that. They've gone into depths. They've really not gone into depths. It's just there. They've just showed it, as it starts off, and it's there. It never really starts about, where's the beginning and where's the end. They've really not gone into that. They may someday, but for me, it's just a situation. Yeah, I check The Walking Dead out to see depending on the storylines, but I'm one of those bandwagoners that jumps off and jumps on depending on the storyline. And I'm not sure I'm going to commit to a new series with the same characters once again.
Well, I'll tell you, I walked away at season 7, man. Season 8, season 9, season 10 have kind of just been a wash for me. I'll poke my head in every now and then, see what's going on, read up on the episode recaps, just to have have some knowledge of what's going on in the Walking Dead universe. But I've been in and out, and it's just not done anything for me. I don't understand how we've stayed afloat the last few seasons, but I don't want to disparage our Walking Dead super fan. So it's just, I don't know what's going on with this show, man. It feels like we took something that was perfect and we decided we were going to make a whole bunch of money off of it and made it terrible.
Well, that's the thing. Ever since Negan's appearance on the show and the overly violent way that I guess a lot of people got turned off on, even though his character is overly violent by nature, it just seems like that a lot of people were turned off on it. In fact, this was a show that was getting 16, 17 million viewers that has gone down to 1 million, 2 million viewers at times. And you're talking about a show it was in such serious decline over the years, and it still has an audience. So obviously it still has a base to people, for people to go ahead and watch. But again, when you're just going ahead and rehashing old characters that have been around since season 1, and you're just giving them a new show to deal with, but it's basically essentially in the same environment, in the same general time frame, again, the same characters, it's not really a new show. It's just an extension of what The Walking Dead truly is.
Look, I grew up in Texas, going to the ranch every weekend. I have no doubt in my mind that Daryl could have put up a fence, like a fence around 40 acres or something, lived right in the middle, and been happy the entire time. And just maintain fence and stay away from the zombies. Don't make noise. Like, this man could have done what he actually wanted. But yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how this kind of wraps up here. I actually am intrigued by this entire 2 season inside of 1 for season 11 concept. So I might be coming back to fill in the gap there for season 7, 8, and 9. And then come back to 10. So. And
a lot of the actors have gone into doing other things, like go to Star Trek Discovery, or Maggie's character. Maggie's the actress who plays Maggie. She went and did her own things, but it didn't work out, so she's back on the show. One of the actresses, she's going to play Selena in a new thing for Netflix. they're all getting tired of it to an extent as far as it's concerned, and they're all distancing themselves from the series. So I guess it's time for the base Walking Dead series to end at some point. It looks like it is going to be ending after a supersized 11 season. So if you out there are shedding a tear over it, don't really shed it, because you'll be seeing Daryl and Carol still in the future of The Walking Dead. What are your thoughts out there on The Walking Dead ending after 11 seasons? We want to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Plus also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And of course, Pop Culture Cosmos on TikTok as well. Well, before we head to the break, my friend, and TJ Johnson, I want you to go ahead and give me a little bit of thoughts on something you asked to go ahead and talk about, and that was Ninja crawling back to Twitch. Come take me back, Twitch. He decided to go ahead and he gave everybody a taste about a month ago or so, and on Twitch and YouTube, and basically got a few 100,000 people interested. Got a lot of people interested in his stream, and it was just a matter of time when the bidding war, because I'm assuming YouTube also tried to get him, because they've been trying to get a couple of high-profile streamers as well. So I want to hear your thoughts on Ninja crawling back to Twitch, take me back, and Twitch actually wanting to go ahead and giving him a multi-year deal as well.
He got really lucky, I think, to a certain extent, because it felt like he maybe burned some bridges on the way out of Twitch. But
you think?
Yeah, but I honestly don't know how he landed this contract, but I'm glad for him. I mean, this is a big deal for Twitch. It's a big deal for Amazon. Let's just call it what it is at the end of the day. Bringing that many viewers to the Twitch platform, which is the extension of Amazon. Yep, money, sponsorship, or advertisement money. That's what it is.
It's always about the money.
It is always about the money. But at the end of the day, I think you will end up seeing a better Ninja product. And this isn't coming from a Ninja fan. I've watched a few of his videos, here and there, but like, I'm not a religious diehard, watcher, but I think we might get back to some better quality videos now that he's back on a platform that he appreciates, or maybe knows a little bit more better than anything else he's done recently on Mixer, YouTube, back to Twitch. It's going to be fun. I look at this more as we're going to see the explosion of Twitch again. Twitch bloomed under Ninja, or while Ninja was there. It has continued to grow, but I think we're about to see explosive growth for Twitch again as a platform, which means more saturation, less quality candidates coming out, maybe, but maybe not. We'll see.
We'll see indeed, but it also speaks to a larger issue that you and I, maybe not on today's show, but eventually we'll have to go into. Josh and I talked about as far as the non-allure with the high-profile streamers out there of going to an exclusive deal with Facebook Gaming, because after the fall of Mixer and Facebook Gaming, you got the rights to go ahead and ask for offers of these high-profile streamers. None of them, or virtually none of them, went the way of Facebook Gaming, because they see that as a different platform, as an older platform that they're not truly interested, which is a shame for Facebook Gaming fans, that they want to go ahead and, like us, go ahead and get that profile going, because I'd love to see Facebook Gaming going, because you and I are talking on several different groups right now for Facebook Gaming. I just shared two, and I want to go ahead and say right now that I'd love to see Facebook Gaming from my own personal standpoint, but also from the standpoint that it would be great to see that bloom and whatnot. But I do want to go ahead at sometime in the future talk to you about that, because the landscape, like you said, is maybe shifting back toward Twitch, because Twitch caters to a younger audience, and Twitch wants to go ahead and be a broader based platform than just gaming. And I'll say right now that Twitch's gain is Facebook's loss, and that's going to be something that we're going to have to deal with for now, until Facebook Gaming can go ahead and find someone or something like the Pop Culture Cosmos that can go ahead and draw in millions of viewers.
I agree 100% on that one.
What are your thoughts out there on Niche going back to Twitch? Come back, I'm back. Want to hear your thoughts on that? Go ahead.
I was gonna say he crawled back for like $20 million. So let's. I'm just gonna say I'll crawl back for $20 million.
I'll crawl backwards. I'll crawl frontwards. I'll crawl sideways. I'll crawl any way for those $20 million if Twitch would have us.
I'm trying to sell out. Look.
Yeah, there you go. but we're not doing as great a job as Ninja does. But if you have thoughts on Niche going back to Twitch, let us know. Pop Culture Cosmos. Well, coming up after the break, it is TJ Johnson from Voice from the Underground. He had some very emotional, deep thoughts on the passing of Chadwick Boseman and also his thoughts on where the Black Panther series should go next. I'm going to go ahead and after that talk to Marcus de la Garza about what his thoughts are for the future of Black Panther, plus also as well Daisy Ridley in Star Wars. Can't get rid of Star Wars just yet. They had some things pop up over the week. We'll talk about Xbox Series S and X release date and price announced. We'll hear his thoughts on that real quick. And of course, we'll end the show on Marvel's Avengers video game as well. So we want to hear your thoughts on that. I'll hear his thoughts on the Marvel's Avengers video game as well. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. Want to thank so much TJ Johnson for being part of the program today. If you get a chance, give out some love to us at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Share, like, follow, subscribe, throw out some Facebook gaming stars, whatever you can do to support us here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's truly appreciated. Remember, we've got some great shows, including Inside Sports Fantasy Football, which is back alive once again. And, of course, our NBA coverage each and every day at the Lakers Fast Break. And then if you want to catch our conversation with myself and Marcus last week on NASCAR and who we thought the playoffs were going to go and in which way we thought the playoffs were going to go, because it's already started. Check out I think last week's PCC Multiverse as well. Well, my friend, great having you here, Marcus. And I want to go ahead and say before we close on out, Daisy really had some conversation. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I wanted to, I just spoke to TJ Johnson from Voice from the Underground about Black Panther. So I want to hear your thoughts real quick before we get into Daisy Ridley, because I was so excited about talking about Daisy Ridley. I want to hear your thoughts on where you think the Black Panther series will go. There will be a Black Panther 2. There will be a Black Panther of some type, of some character, of somebody based in that. I don't think replacing Black Panther is a good idea with another male character, but I think there are 3 great female characters that could take up the role of Black Panther, and I think any one of them would do them justice.
I'm intrigued. Tell me who your 3 are, and then I'll because that might reshape my thoughts here. Because I have a pretty unique perspective. Maybe I don't know. Give me your 3, and I'd love to give you my thoughts after that.
Well, everybody wants Shuri. Everybody loves Shuri.
Yep.
Shuri, Letitia Wright is amazing and sensational as that. And the comic books had her step into the role as Black Panther, her character as the sister, because she was next in line to the throne. Mm-hmm. Then you have Okoye, Danai Gurira, who I absolutely love. She's terrific and fantastic, and she always has those lines. The only thing with Letitia Wright and Danai Gurira is that they stand out so well in their own characters.
Yeah,
that it's so hard to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and have you now take up 2 roles, not only as yourself as Shuri, but as Black Panther or Okoye and Black Panther. I just think those 2 actresses are so good at what they're doing right now for the Marvel Cinematic Universe as those own characters. I think that they should stay as those 2 characters. The one lady that I think should get the chance is Lupita Nyong'o.
Absolutely.
As Nakia, because you could say in the plot line that she married T'Challa and she could easily take over, because now that unfortunately Chadwick Boseman has passed away, there is no longer a love interest for Nakia. And if that's the case, I would love to see her transition. She was obviously very badass in her role in Black Panther. You saw her in action. Nobody can tell me different on that. I think she's a sensational actress as well. And I think she would be my choice if I was Kevin Feige sitting in Marvel land up there, that she should get the chance and opportunity to play Black Panther.
So I get that Marvel land doesn't operate in the same universe that we all do. They're going to make their own decisions, and they're going to make their decisions based on what's going to be best for them as a company, I'm guessing. I'll tell you, I didn't realize how much I was going to be affected by the passing of Chadwick Boseman. It was just like, it didn't make sense out the gate. And then, you come to find out he had been battling with cancer for a while. So that really hit hard. And it's just like, man, none of us knew what was going on, but this man still put on a good face every day and showed up and, did his media obligations of whatever was going on with him. And he got it done right. That being said, I think Black Panther as a character is too important to walk away from. What we saw with the reaction from the young children, even from grown adults. I mean, look at look at the way this has affected me. This is a franchise that actually had a major impact on everybody, and it's. I don't know if we can let it go, but it's hard to find somebody to fill the shoes that have been left vacant. And so with that, I would say I'm I'm intrigued by a Black Panther 2. It's going to have to be done right, though. And it's got to feel like we're honoring him, but at the same time, it's got to stand alone on its own. This feels like we're in another Dark Knight Rises situation, right? Like we lost Heath Ledger, and Chris Nolan had to go back to the drawing board and rewrite that entire Dark Knight Rises script because he had already included the Joker in with Bane and all these.
Ryan Coogler has already stated he's going to have to do the very same thing because he had already written it out for Chadwick Boseman.
It's sorry. It's not sorry. It's sad, man. Like I just don't want it to. It hurts. The story needs to continue, but it needs to be done right.
And I know bringing back Michael B. Jordan has been talked about. I know other actors have been talking about, but I think bringing in another male actor to do it or bringing back Michael B. Jordan is, even though he was tremendous in his role.
He killed his role.
Yeah, he killed his role, but he got killed.
Yeah.
So, and bringing him back to life, I mean, you could do it, especially in Wakanda, but to me, like I said, I think Nakia is right there. She need, basically her character needs something to do now and needs to have importance. And she has an importance already. She's there. She's viable. She can do the job. And I think she's more than capable.
Well, and just like Chadwick learned how to be Boseman, Chadwick learned how to be Black Panther in the first movie. I mean, she can do the same thing in the follow up in Black Panther 2. Learn how to be the Black Panther. And there's no saying that we can't keep rotating this character through the kingdom. I guess to a certain extent, what happens if it becomes Black Panther by majority vote? I mean, that's not been done in the comic books, I realize, but we might need to get creative here to find a good solution that will make sure everybody's happy to a certain extent.
What are your thoughts out there on Black Panther? How should the series continue, and who should don the role of Black Panther? We'd love to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Speaking of superpowered franchises, Star Wars is still in the news. Always seems to stay in the news because Daisy Ridley was on the Jimmy Kimmel Show talking to Josh Gad about some alternate plots that were talked about and actually at one point set in stone until they were changed. And the one that was brought out the most was the Obi-Wan Kenobi lineage, which, as everybody knows, didn't happen in The Rise of Skywalker, which became the Palpatine family lineage of Daisy Ridley's character, Rey. So I want to hear your thoughts. Would that have been a better way to go? Because for me and for Josh, I think anything from what we saw in The Rise of Skywalker would have been a better way to go.
You and I didn't get a chance to talk about this. The ending felt a little hokey, right?
The whole movie felt a little hokey.
Okay, but I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say the last 40 minutes felt hokey. Last 30 minutes felt hokey. So I'm with you. Anything would have been better. And especially when we learned about some of the alternate endings that might have been, especially with the storylines, the fact that Ben would have risen up as the ghost, or Anakin would have risen up as the ghost to put his hand on Rey's shoulder to give her the power of the underworld it's just like, it's nuts, man. And the fact that we didn't explore any of these avenues that they got poo-pooed by the studio execs is mind-blowing to me, because I think a lot of people were looking for a little bit more of a complete storyline when it came to Rey. That being said, I think there's a lot of people out there that are appreciative of the fact that she didn't need anybody else's family name to make her who she was to a certain extent. She was always going to be standalone on her own. She was the one that was going to wrap this all up for us, right? So it's a little bit of an internal struggle for me personally, but I think it would have been a much better movie if we would have done anything that I've heard, whether it's the Anakin rising as a ghost from the grave to put a hand on Rey to give her power, or anything, literally anything.
I mean, I mind. I mean, I don't mind Palpatine in there at all, or whatever the clone, or whatever he is. In the movie. I don't mind Palpatine because I love Palpatine as a character. As far as what he brought, he was actually the only thing that was truly interesting to the sequel. To the prequels. And I don't mind that aspect of it, but the lineage part, as far as Rey being, just man, that was just it was tough. Rise of Skywalker was a tough watch, I think, for everyone.
But if you gave it Kenobi, and I think they actually mentioned this in the Yahoo article that you posted earlier today, that would have given us that complete storyline of Skywalker saving the Kenobi saving the Skywalker. Like, we would have had a full circle here. Why didn't we do anything?
A lot of questions on that, my friend. But then again, there's a lot of questions on the entire trilogy itself and the way it was executed. So we could be here for the next 24 hours straight and not have the answers sent.
Look, I got like 6 people we can call and do this for at least 6 hours.
I'm might sure have to do that.
I'm sure you've got 12 that you could call right now.
I'm just serious. For all the Star Wars fans that are out there that are trying to side with it, there seems like there's 2, 3, 4, 5 more that will say, like Josh and I, and that sounds like you as well, that they should have done something different with this trilogy.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts out there on Daisy Ridley's comments in regards to a different alternate plot line for the Star Wars movies that we just got finished with in this latest trilogy? We'd love to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, before we head on out, my friend, 2 big updates. In fact, one is a big update coming at you, and that is the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X. Well, it was one of those famous leaks. I think it was, I don't know if it's Eurogamer.net or it's one of the outlets out there, caught a wind of what was going on with the Xbox Series X and X, and it got released out there. Not only broke out, as far as I remember actually seeing it late at night, like the day before they actually had to announce it, Xbox did, the date and price. And so I posted that on the Game Source Facebook page, which was the Xbox Series S, which is the entry level unit that's coming out. That's at $299. The Xbox Series X is $499. And the release date for the Xbox Series S and X will be November 10th. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. The Xbox Series S is going to be able to do quite a bit above what an Xbox One normally does right now, but it won't be able to do it at the high resolution 4K, 8K, type of deals. The frame rate issues might not be as extensive as the Xbox Series X, but overall, the Xbox Series S $299, that's not a bad value. The only problem is, will there be any entry-level games as far as the system is concerned when it gets released that will have people wanting to buy the system for
it? Sorry. This is really interesting to me, this entire Series S versus Series X. The fact that we're going to be doing the digital exclusive only version is mind-blowing to me, in the sense of, dude, I grew up with physical media. You grew up with physical media. The fact that we're just transitioning to this entire digital realm is insane. I'm
not going to buy a system right now. I'm sure maybe I won't buy one 10 years down the line, but I'm not buying one right now without physical media access to it. I love my Blu-rays. I use my PlayStation 4 and my Xbox One as Blu-ray players. I can't do it right now.
Yeah, that's the only reason I still have my PlayStation 4 right now, is just because it's my Blu-ray player. But yeah, it's very interesting to me. The fact that it's going to be less powerful, it only does 1440p, is going to be the limitation for me. I'm excited by it. I think this is Microsoft taking a page out of the Apple playbook to a certain extent. Apple introduced the iPhone XR a few years ago, or a year ago, whenever that was, a couple years ago now. And that was really geared to be an entry model to the Apple landscape to a certain extent, right? You had an entire user base that was below your general user base market that couldn't afford technically the iPhone XS or couldn't do any of these other things, but they could afford the next step down, more of an entry model. And that's what this Series S is feeling like to me. I have a feeling it's going to sell pretty well, but over the next few years, obviously it's just going to But especially as the TV standards keep improving, we start seeing 8K be a real possibility over the next year or two, as far as like, really coming to consumer market, being affordable, that kind of thing. It's still a little bit outrageous on the price spectrum, but we'll see about that. But yeah, I think the digital series only, the Series S, is going to be a good entry market, but it's also maybe catering to people in my age bracket, this 30 to 36 bracket that maybe doesn't care about having the 4K gaming, but really just wants to have that experience, but have the latest experience, right? The visuals to it, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to buy the Series S. I'll end up buying the Series X or the PS5. More likely the PS5. The Unreal 5 engine is just like amazing. The way that they're doing the renderings and everything on the Unreal 5 engine is wow. You start looking at the way that they're doing the shadows and reflecting light. Let's get back to the Xbox here. The digital only version at $299, obviously going to be a great model for people trying to get their small kids into gaming or something. If under 12, under 14 years old, they're not going to know. Give them the Series S.
Absolutely.
They're not going to notice the difference in the degradation of video quality. Eventually they're going to be begging you for that X, so you might as well buy it out the gate if you can afford it. But I think this is definitely going to be one of those entry models to get people stepping stone towards the Series X eventually. And I mean, it sounds amazing, right? Like, and they're running technically the same CPU. It's just the graphics processor on the Series S is going to be an older quality.
And I'll tell you what, my friend, as for a lot of people, the $299 price tag is, especially this holiday, is going to be something that's attractive. I think that was a smart move by not just having a $500 unit out there saying go ahead and buy, because just a $500 unit is going to be a tough sell. But the $500 unit is now going to people such as yourself or really diehard gamers that are really interested in it. But people of the general audience can go ahead and say, you know what, I want to get the next generation of gaming, but it's something at $299 I can more readily afford. So I thought that was a smart move by Xbox. We'll see what happens down the road. The only thing for me is I don't know yet what the entry-level games, what are the games that are coming out with it that make me say, you know what, I got to go ahead and get into the next generation gaming, because the current generation kind of looks really good right now. So I don't know if I want to step into it yet until I see more games that are going to be available for it that make me say, you know what, I've got to go ahead and take that investment, and I got to go ahead and take that leap into the next generation of gaming.
Well, and some of the game manufacturers or the game developers are starting to incentivize you buying these games on the PS4, the Xbox One, right now, saying that if you buy a PS5 or the Xbox Series X or the Series S, we'll automatically upgrade you. And I think it's Cyberpunk 2077 is already saying that, and there's one or two other games have already said that. It might be Spider-Man with Sony.
No, there's quite a few that have said they'll do it free. Then there's the 2Ks of the world that say they're going to make you pay. So, it all depends on how you slice it. But for me, I don't want to get something that's just going to be able and be available for the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. I want exclusive games that I want to go ahead and say, you know what, that's the reason why I need to buy an Xbox Series S or Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5. So we'll wait and see if those actual exclusive games come out for that series, come out for these systems that are really going to just draw people like me in. I'm a little bit on this generation. I've really bought in early on most of these other generations, but this generation, I think I'm going to hold off just a little bit until I see something exclusive that says to me, Gerald, it's time, and you got to buy one right now. What are your thoughts out there on the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X coming out at $299 and $499 coming out November 10th? Are you excited for it? Or are you like, I'll wait and see? Share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, Marcus, it's been great having you on the program. I cannot thank you enough for doing so. But before we head on out, my friend, Marvel's Avengers video game. I know I've been putting this off on the back burner for a couple episodes, but it has come out. Some of the reviews are finally being finalized because, of delays or the fact that the reviewers didn't get a chance to look at it too much in advance. They're coming out with okay reviews as far as a general rating. They're liking Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan's character. They're liking some of the characters in there. They're liking and enjoying the campaign. but everything after that, including the multiplayer and everything else, was not to their liking. So I want to hear your thoughts. You had a great analogy and a comparison to Marvel's Avengers, and I want to hear your thoughts on Marvel's Avengers, the video game.
So I think just watching the gameplay and reading everything I've read, it feels like vanilla Destiny, but not vanilla Destiny that we got when PS4, was really in its heyday there, or not even PS4, when Destiny was in its heyday, right? On release, it doesn't even feel that good. So I'll say that, when you look at the graphics, you look at the gameplay, the mechanics behind everything, it looks like vanilla Destiny. That being said, the campaign apparently is outstanding. It's 12 to 15 hours long, and everybody loves, like you said, everybody loves the early character development and everything, but it just doesn't feel like it's gonna succeed in the long run. Hold on, I'm pulling up my notes here. So Sony's already stated that they're going to do the upgrade for the Avengers as well, so that you can adopt the PS5 and get that game right away as well. We were just speaking about that just a minute ago on the PS5 discussion. The comparison to Destiny, though, I have to say that I hope that they grow. I hope that the Marvel's Avengers game really does grow, because I was very intrigued by it, and especially watching gameplay today. It was captivating, man. It really wants you. It feels like somebody took Destiny and was like, "Nah, let's throw a Thor skin on that, or let's throw a, whoever it is, Loki, or let's throw any Iron Man skin on anybody and let them dance around on a map for a minute." That's kind of what it felt like to me. But I was still intrigued, and I think that a lot of that stems back to I was a Destiny 1 head. I played nonstop. I was lost, Gerald. I was lost in that video game.
I played that demo of Destiny way back when, and I got into Destiny in the early beginnings of it, but it sucked me right back out, and it just was repetitive, boring, and it just didn't keep me invested in the series, and I never got back into it, even with Destiny 2. Yeah. So I'm hoping Marvel's Avengers will do something to suck me in besides a pretty good campaign. It's got to have a life extended of its own. I'm hoping that the folks at Square Enix will learn from their reviews and go ahead and make sure that they make and build a better world for this universe, as far as from the after game, after campaign type stuff, and they can go ahead and build a better multiplayer and things like that. And then have it so that maybe in a year from now, when the prices are reduced for Marvel's Avengers video game, maybe it goes on sale this time next year for Black Friday or whatnot, maybe $20 or whatnot. I'm hoping if that's the case, I'm buying into it then, because as much as I love the Avengers and love Marvel, I really am not enthused by just playing through a campaign and saying, you know what, the rest of this stinks.
Yeah, and I think they need to take a page out of the Destiny book there. Destiny actually brought good multiplayer campaign out the gate, and that's something that everybody is consistently saying is going to be garbage with it, or it has been garbage with this Avengers game, is multiplayer is just not there. Why would why would I spend $60 on a game when only half of it is working?
Exactly, and that's something that they need to address, and hopefully by this time next year, as so many other games, and that's something about this generation that has been the saving grace on why this generation of gaming has been so good, because with No Man's Sky and so many other games that have come out of the blocks with such tepid or bad or mediocre reviews, they've built and worked on it and built and updated to the point where they now have a very viable game 2, 3, 4 years later, especially in the case of No Man's Sky. So I'm hoping that like Destiny's, the Destiny 2s, the No Man's Skies, that Marvel Avengers will take heed and put work into the actual full game itself and be able to make it a complete adventure at some point in time down the road. What are your thoughts out there on Marvel's Avengers, the video game? We'd love to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. My friend, it's been a great episode talking pop culture with you. In fact, I liked it so much. How about hopping on the show next week as well?
I would love to. I'll do this as long as, the Pop Culture Cosmos will have me around. I know it's not just you, it's the listeners out there too. So listeners, give us some feedback. Let us know what you thought about today.
We'll go absolutely. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But before we end out, anything you want to plug?
Myself, Castle FPV. That's KASTLE FPV. That's on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me. I just got a haircut today, and I posted some wacky photos, so you can go have a good laugh at that one.
There you go. Got to follow him today. Castle FPV, right there for you. Marcus Taylor Garza, cannot thank you enough. Appreciate it. And again, everybody out there, we truly appreciate you watching and listening on either on Facebook Live, YouTube, or everywhere you hear this program. So for Marcus Taylor Garza, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great